Hello all and welcome to my channel Avantika's Astrohelp, and we are continuing with part 2 of Rahu Mahadasha's purpose from 7 to 12 houses. Now when Rahu is placed in the 7th house, it will amplify the need for ground level activities, for materialistic aspects. Let's say if you want a house, you want a big house, big car. So it will exaggerate that need, that material side of life. And 7th house is that house where centralization of all the courses of Maya happens. So you get very much attached to Maya in the 7th house because it is the house of partnership, the biggest element of Maya. A lot of people will say, I can live without this and that, but I cannot live without partnership. I cannot live without my partner. So if one marriage did not work out, they would go for a second marriage. If they met multiple breakups, they have seen a lot of relationship failures, they would still not lose hope. They would still want to give it a shot whenever they come across somebody new. Since 7th house now is occupied by the element of Rahu. So now what happens is that even while looking for partnership, you would want something more, or you can want more partners. You will not be easily satisfied. So when Rahu is placed in the 7th house, it will take away the element of satisfaction, and because of which you can often be disturbed, you are not in one place, and you keep on looking for more and more. So that is the thing. So for 7th house Rahu people, there is a very strong suggestion that when you go for a partnership, you should be very, very thoughtful about what kind of partnership you really want, because often under compulsion I have seen these people getting married to somebody they did not so much want to, but they could never provide that happiness, element of companionship to their partner's reason, because their partner was not somebody they really want as partner. So 7th house Rahu people will be very much dominated by this side of Rahu, which often exaggerates and makes you want more and more in the area of partnership, and because of which often partnership can go for a toss. Now it's like you are not happy with your partner is not happy with you. Let's say you're undergoing Rahu Mahadasha, you have 7th house Rahu, you got married at that time, because there are higher chances, because of course Rahu is in the 7th house, so it will activate the matters of 7th house during its Mahadasha or any other Dasha also. So now if you have created partnership in your life, but you were not so sure whether this is the kind of partnership or this is the kind of partner I would be happy and okay with, then do not get into it. Often out of confusion or desperate decisions, out of some fear, like a lot of people, they choose to get married when they think that they are likely to not get somebody in their lives, or maybe they tried so many times, all they saw was failed partnership, failed relationships, and they come to a decision that okay, chalo, now I have this person in my life, I will take a chance and I'll get married and everything will be fine. But if it is not something that you want, or the partner is not like that, then you are going to have a tough time, because you will not be able to organize your mind in a way where you are accepting, where you're more accepting of the other person, his personality, his nature, his body language, everything that comes under personality. So you have to be thoughtful in that matter. If your partnership is not going great, if it is not something as per your expectation, then you will not have that acceptance and you will not be satisfied. You will feel very much disturbed, and because of that you might often go for things, make choices which are again not good for you. So in your life, Rahu Mahadasha's purpose would be to first organize your energies when it comes to exchanging energy with somebody, because 7th house is the house where we exchange energy with other people, and that too in all the ways, whether it's mental, emotional, physical. So you have to be very careful about the choices that you are going to make in this dasha, because it is definitely going to affect everything else in your life. Now if I talk about 8th house Rahu, now 8th house, because it is the house of hidden sciences, hidden elements, anything which is underground. So Rahu, because it is very inquisitive, it is very curious. Rahu represents that inquisitiveness and curious energy. So it will want you to know something that others don't know, and it can often be about yourself, about other subjects, other people. Like I have seen people with 8th house Rahu during Rahu Mahadasha, they suddenly got interested in face reading, or something that can help them unlock few things through their intuition, or reading between the layers. But since this house is that house which is dark, which is receiving absolutely no sunlight, so you have to be very careful while dealing with the matters related to 8th house. Sometimes 8th house Rahu can make you fearful, very delusional, talking about ghosts and spirits. So you are occupied by thinking about the things that are not helping, and that can also reduce your level of productivity. So if you have Rahu in the 8th house, so you have to first dive in. You have to go into that meditative state where you try to know yourself first before you try to know anything else. Know yourself better before you go on looking for other things and discovering other matters. Otherwise, 8th house Rahu native, if he is undergoing Rahu Mahadasha, he can end up wasting this Mahadasha completely by being delusional, by not being able to understand himself, by behaving little cynical at times, and feeling very disturbed from inside, sometimes feeling fearful. Because you need to understand that 8th house is that house which is dealing with underground energies, and if you pay a lot of attention to these details, then you will start attracting these forces, and these energies can try to come in contact with you, and it can interfere a lot with your daily life. So that's why I said that before you try to know something else, you need to know yourself better, so that you are able to bring that sort of balance, and you are able to balance your energies by working on your spiritual growth. Now when Rahu is placed in the 9th house, it is throwing its aspect on the 1st and 5th house. Now you have to be very careful again with this placement of Rahu, because if you are not somebody who's disciplined, who takes care of his routine, who is willing to work in order and under system, then you are going to have problem with this placement. Now when something is not right in the system and you try to challenge it, question it, then it makes sense. But when everything is right in the system and then you try to challenge it just because you don't understand it, just because you don't have that level of acceptance for it, just because that system is clashing with your understanding, then it becomes important to introspect your own thought process and question your own way of looking at things. Second thing is that sometimes Rahu in the 9th house can disturb your mind, can influence your mind in very eccentric ways, and which are not even right, because 9th house is the house of higher learning, and Rahu is throwing its aspect on 1st house and 5th house, where 1st house is your head and 5th house is your brain's performance. So what happens? Ultimately, Rahu is covering all the mental functions here. So you need to purify your thoughts before you choose any path in your life, because your actions will be based totally on the quality and choices of your thoughts. Otherwise, if you have 9th house Rahu and you are undergoing Rahu Mahadasha, then what happens is that during this dasha, you will not be able to activate your sky element. You will not be able to work on your Akash Tattva. And Akash Tattva helps us to form greater bond with divine. You may not even want to think in that way. In fact, you may sometimes think that you are above divine. I have seen this, that during Rahu Mahadasha with 9th house Rahu people, they at times thought that they are above divine, or divine will not be able to do anything for them. They will not regulate their lives. So if you are undergoing Rahu Mahadasha, and if you have 9th house Rahu, and if you are experiencing these shades in you, then you have to clear your thoughts and you have to purify your thoughts. Something that is able to drive your energy upwards, and you are able to activate your sky element. Now, if you have Rahu in the 10th house, it is going to influence your karma, your action, the kind of contribution that you want to make in any sector of life. Sometimes Rahu in the 10th house people can be very fickle-minded, not just while choosing the nature of their profession, in their career, but also in other areas of life. And they will not be satisfied for a long time in one place. They will keep looking for a change, but with a vague approach, with a vague mind. One day they might say that I want this thing, the other day they might just say that they are not able to understand the importance of that thing in their lives which they needed a day back. So they can be that unstable, unclear and fickle while making choices. And this keeps influencing their actions in every area of their lives. So they always need to be told or guided, or they need some sort of counseling. And if they are undergoing Rahu Mahadasha, then they will be making hell lot of changes in lot of areas in their lives, because at one point they're unclear, then the other point they will be clear, but again they will rethink. So decision making becomes little difficult for Rahu in the 10th house people. Even when sometimes they take decisions, they can be very overconfident more than thoughtful. Like, it's more about that if somebody challenges them, they will come up with this thing that I will prove it to you, or they will have motivation for one day and not the other day. So if they are undergoing Rahu Mahadasha, they need to fuel themselves up with daily motivation, consistency, sincerity and clear choices. Because if you are not operating from clarity, you do not have a clear mind, you will keep messing up with your life and the other person's life as well, because your actions are going to have an impact on everybody who is connected to you. So you have to change the way you have been functioning, especially if you are undergoing Rahu Mahadasha, because Rahu Mahadasha would want that you change the way you have been functioning till now. And for that, you need to change your quality of actions. Now, Rahu in the 11th house will make you over ambitious. If you want something, you want the best thing. You want to be the best in your domain. You want the best of income. You want the best of a standard. So that is the kind of energy that you are getting in this house. So you can make a lot of use of this energy, provided you are in sync with your goals. If you have 11th house Rahu and you are undergoing Rahu Mahadasha, then be assured of one thing: any desire, any goal which you have been working toward, and it has taken a lot of energy, effort, time and attention, then for sure it will be fulfilled only and only if you are in sync with it. So for 11th house Rahu people, there is a very strong suggestion from my side that you need to very clearly understand the purpose of this Mahadasha in your life, and the purpose is that this Dasha wants you to fulfill all your desires and your goals, provided you are working with a lot of sincerity towards it. Now let's understand when Rahu is placed in the 12th house. 12th house represents all those elements and activities which are very opposite from Rahu's nature. 12th house represents donation, letting go, seclusion, liberation. So it is ultimately very different from the nature of the 12th house. Now when Rahu is placed in the 12th house, it wants you to think in a fashion which you have not been able to in your previous lives. It wants you to think good about others, facilitate their lives in any capacity, in any way that you can, and be involved in kind deeds. Since this house is very different from Rahu's nature, so at times people with this placement can feel caged, because Rahu in the 12th house feels caged, because Rahu is all about holding on to your desires and working towards it and not letting go. It cannot relate with the concept of letting go. Rahu wants to fulfill the desires and goals and wherever it has invested its energy. But 12th house is that house where everything else is coming to rest. So Rahu in this house, especially during its Mahadasha, will want you to be involved in kind deeds and not with a mindset that you do good so that good can come back to you. It would want you to do that with a mindset that you do good so that other person's life can be facilitated or can become easier, maybe for a day or in the future. But through you, some help is going toward the other individual, toward the other section, and you are just not engrossed in over facilitating your life. So Rahu Mahadasha's purpose in your life is to help you become a better version of yourself. I hope you liked this video. If you liked it, please hit a like, share it with your family and friends. And if you want to take a consultation from me, offline or online, you will be able to find my contact details in the description of this video and also in the description of my channel. So I'll see you very soon in the next video. Please take good care of yourself.